So if you look at 4.2, it is on page 175, and it says transversals and parallel lines. So I want you to look at these definitions. Corresponding angles lie on the same side of the transversal and on the same side of intersecting lines. Well, first, I guess we need to look at what a transversal is. And a transversal is a line that intersects two lines at different points. So here, this T is a transversal, and it's intersecting two lines, P and Q, okay? So corresponding angles lie on the same side of the transversal and on the same side of the intersected lines. So 1 and 5 are examples of corresponding angles. Same side interior angles lie in the same side of the transversal between the intersected lines, 3 and 6. And then you have alternate. So I want you to read through these and look at the examples and make sure that you know where each of those are. Okay, so on page 176, we're looking at this same side interior angle postulate. And it says if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of same side interior angles are supplementary. So A asks you to draw these, but it's drawing it for us. And then B says identify same side interior angles. So angle 4 and angle 5 are same side interior angles. They're on the same side and they're on the interior. Angle 3 and angle 6 are same side interior angles. And then it says, what does the postulate tell you about these? Well, it tells me that the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 5 equals 180 degrees. And then the last one says, well, if angle 4 is 70 degrees, what is the measure of angle 5? Well, 180 minus 70 degrees gives me a measurement of 110 for angle 5. And that is it. We'll go over the rest in class tomorrow. Okay, so 4.1 on page 163, we're going to look at angles formed by intersecting lines. And the essential question in here is how can you find the measures of angles formed by intersecting lines? And so let's jump to the next page. Okay, so at the top of this page, there's some important words. We have been measuring vertical angles and linear pairs. So vertical angles, okay, are opposite each other, and they are congruent. A linear pair is a pair of adjacent angles whose non-common sides are opposite rays, and they form a line. Okay, so those are the two things you need to know. And if you move down here, vertical angle theorem, when you have two vertical angles, then the angles are congruent. So 1 and 3 are vertical angles, they're congruent, and 2 and 4 are vertical angles, and so they're also congruent. Okay, so if we look at Explain 1 on page 166, it asks about the measure of angle 6, and we can see that the measure of angle 6 is going to be 146 because it's a vertical angle. And then it wants us to find angle 5 and angle 7. Well, if we look at angle 5 and that 146, they make a linear pair. And so 180 minus 146 equals 34 degrees. And so we know that 5 is 34 degrees, and 7 is also 34 degrees. So let's look down here to your turn. Find the two measures of vertical angles. The measures of two vertical angles are 58 degrees and 3x plus 4 degrees. Find the value of x. So the first thing I'm going to suggest you do is draw two vertical angles. Okay, I'm going to label one 58, and I'm going to label the other one 3x plus 4. And so we know that those two are equal. So 3x plus 4 equals 58. I'm going to solve for x, and I'm going to get x equals 18. And it just asks us to find the value of x, so we do not need to do anything else. All right, so turn the page. All right, we are on page 167, and it says supplementary and complementary angles. So complementary angles are two angles who measure 90 degrees, and supplementary angles are two angles that have a sum of 180. So, if you look here, I want you to read through this example 2 and see if you can get it, and we will talk about that tomorrow in class. And then look at number 9 on page 168. And it says you can represent the measures of an angle and its complement as x degrees and 90 minus x degrees. And it's the same for supplement. You can represent it with x and 180 minus x. So it says the measure of an angle is equal, okay, I'm just going to write that. The measure of an angle is equal to the measure of its complement, 90 minus x. And when you solve for x, you get 45 degrees, okay? And the measure of its complement is 45 degrees also. Now I am going to go ahead and move on to 4.2 because there's only a few things in 4.2.